Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 38. We have just had libations, and in some cases, potentially snacks. We have
I'm
coffees.
not offering my tea to any gods.
Have coffees
My
and
tea.
Keep hydrated, guys. And various other bits and pieces. And we have in front of us our continuing endeavours with the Abomination Vaults. We have left the group in town, having had a kind of GM can kick back and relax episode, with me only having to talk a little bit and have to think about things every now and again. It's really nice when it happens, believe me. It's wonderful. I get kiboshed by combat and things like that because I actually have to think.
Thinking is overrated.
Thinking is definitely overrated. With episodes like the last one, it's a little bit more chill for me. It's definitely worth trying every now and again. That said, they're probably going to now make me talk in multiple different funny voices. So,
you invite this on yourself.
I do. I invite it on myself by getting people like you into the games.
Hoist on your own Picard.
Ooh, Picard.
Yes, I know.
It's an enterprising solution.
Oh God.
We'll leave that voyage right there and just carry on.
Oh, even I knew what that meant.
Don't worry, it'll skip to the next generation.
I think getting too deep into this space, we really should stop.
If
Right.
it wouldn't mess with his screens, I'd have left the call by now.
So, we are just starting straight off with the map. I've opened it up immediately for the stream. You guys are seeing the map straight away. We are here in the town of Otari. These guys are basically being somber and mopey, gothy little adventurers, exactly like we expect every D&D group to ever be at least once in their continued existence.
Mopey. Gothy.
It happens. It happens a lot. And they have been sat at the Crook's Nook, enjoying a night. Enjoying, as I said, being the sort of loose term for the way that they've been, because they've been talking about all the stuff that could potentially go wrong. As such, we start with the rise of dawn. To the east, just beyond the mayor's house on top of the hill. And you guys wake relatively lazily, because for the first time in a little while, you're having to sleep in a bed. And that sounds like a really good idea, and let's not jinx that one by actually having to get out of it.
Yep.
Although it is shared accommodation up here in the Crook's Nook, so there's a little bit of push to kind of maybe get out from time to time.
Enjoying like not being sleeping in a stinky gambeson. Quite
Yeah.
nice. Good flow walk.
The tavern itself is pretty quiet. There's maybe a couple of passing adventurers. A couple of them seem to be trying to check their pockets. But other than that, there's not really a lot of disturbance. And Yasmira is somehow awake downstairs. You saw her partying, drinking with her comrades late into the evening, and yet appears to be as wide-eyed and alert as you've ever seen her sat downstairs. The street outside is quiet. The bridge itself that the Crook's Nook sits upon seems to have its normal morning traffic. People going to the marketplace, which is literally just down the road from where you are. And you are aware of at least a couple of jobs that you need to get on with in town. You have a backpack full although that is not the technical term because this is a bag of holding and therefore you're not entirely sure when it's full, of books that you could take to the Odd Stories shop where Morgant the Wizard retires to and works. You also have potential links to old friends at the garrison. Although again, friends is a bit of an odd term perhaps for this guy. And then there's always the choice of going to Rajani's, the Glades for Blades, the shop where Colin Rajani works as a blacksmith and puts out fairly decent metal weapons and armour. You are relatively aware though that he's not particularly keyed in with magic, so it's unlikely he's going to have anything magical. And then lastly there's the Dawnflower Library, where the followers of Sarenrae may well have a little bit of information about the undead, although they could well be a little over the top about it. We do, however, know that at least one of you has agreed to do a day's worth of work sorting out a rune on... is it a weapon you're putting the rune on, or is it a... So what's this rune? What is the rune that you're going to put
The
on?
rune is a standard +1.
Okay.
And I was going to put it on the shears, being the one that gives me the choice between stabbing and slashing.
Okay. So a +1 potency, weapon potency rune is rune. Rune is a level 2 rune. Therefore, I believe the DC for putting it onto something is like a 16. Phelan, I believe, was volunteered, not necessarily of his own volition, into doing this work.
Well, he did mention it. I have realised I'm trained in crafting though, so presumably I can just do it.
You could, absolutely. Attaching the runes, it's one of those weird things where you've got a rune, you've got it on an item that
Oh,
already
no, you have
exists.
to be an hang on a minute. Oh, no, expert in crafting to make it, presumably.
Correct, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So long as you're trained, you can stick the things on. You would need it's a 50-50 chance for you to do it, effectively. Whereas Phelan has a little bit more of a chance to do it, I believe.
Yeah.
Only a little bit. So
Yeah.
realistically, yeah, either of you are capable of doing it. You can use more or less any sort of workshop to do this. So the stuff that Bryn has got would be more than capable of doing the work. So yeah, it's entirely possible for either of you to do it.
I'm happy to.
Okay.
Okay.
Make that roll then. This is what I'm going to say, because you are well in charge and know how well you're doing at this. It's not like it's going to be a surprise to you that you failed to put on a rune or succeeded. So make that roll.
So that was a natural 1.
You do have a
Hero
hero
point.
point.
I do. Let's use that. That's a really good plan. Oh, there's another one. Although it cocked off the side, so
Yeah. You might.
not off the side. Thank you. 13. There we go.
13 on the dice. Yeah.
Yes.
Plus
plus 6.
your 6, so 19.
It's 19.
That is a success. You do now indeed have a +1. So just remind me again, because my brain is like a sieve. Yay for bad working memory. You were putting it on which weapon?
The shears.
The
Although the drag and drop
shears.
work.
No, the drag and drop for this doesn't work. It's an edit that you can do in the background, so it's like
Okay.
10 seconds of.
It gives me the little plus sign as if it should work, but
There
then
you go. They are now +1 shears.
and that gets rid of the rune, doesn't
That
it?
does indeed, yeah. You can delete the rune off your couch.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's on a small rune stone, and you slowly but surely, with a little bit of crafting skill, etch a copy of the rune in, and the magic transfers slowly but surely out of the stone into the weapons. So yeah. As
Hero
for
point.
everybody else, because that is going to take Inver's day, pretty much, to do. Where are people headed and who's going where?
Well, I have the bag of holding. The bag of holding has the books, and the books want to go to Morley Bint in the Morley Bint bookshop.
Yes, they do.
So, I don't know.
You're for a blacksmith, aren't you?
Okay, so the simple question is, are you all going as a group or are you all going off in your own separate directions?
Have children started going down the log flume yet?
No. It's too early in the morning.
Assume that when that happens, Neffy is going to join the fray, but until then she stays with the group.
Okay, fair enough. We might fade to black on that. Right.
Moz will definitely join the bimble into town, but may slip away depending on how the conversation goes.
Okay. So you arrive, as it happens, you pass the marketplace, you go past the Farmers Guild as you head north up through town along the Roseguard Road, and you find a 3-story stone tower that rises from the back half of a 1-floor wooden bookstore. A sign above the door depicts a stack of open books with lines of magical energy rising from the page. Yeah, it kind of sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb, to be fair. You've got a simple wooden house with a shop and then a stonking great wizard's tower sat in the middle of town. But everybody's used to it. It's been here for a really long time. Morlibint is one of the older sort of individuals here. As you walk into the shop, there are a couple of bits and pieces around this chamber. The first thing is you notice 2 men in here working around the various sort of areas of the shop. Although one of them doesn't seem to be working, more sorts of seems to just be there and around. This gentleman you know to be somebody called Carl. Carl is Morlibint's husband, and he tends to take and deal with curation of the non-fiction books, the stuff that Morlibint really isn't going to be overly interested in. Yeah, so Morlibint kind of handles all of the interesting works. Fanciful fiction, anthologies, he likes things that build up his imagination and he tends to focus on those. So Carl tends to deal with all of the other bits and pieces that Morlibint wouldn't really be overly bothered with. But Morlibint himself is also dithering around the shop and doing various bits and pieces. He looks like this. Shocks of red hair which he keeps cut and kept under a cap, thick glasses, bottle sort of bottom cap type glass, big circular rounds, and he kind of looks up from his book. He's got this kind of permanent little scowl on his face. Yes, how can I help? What is it you want? Can I assist you at all? I kind of think I recognise. Oh well, I do recognise you, definitely, Neffy. And Phelan, good to see you.
Yes.
Nice, well met. The natural arts doing you well, I hope.
I'll grumble.
I think once upon a time you would have made a very good wizard, but hey, that's just me. What else have we got here? Neffy, Moz? Well, it has been a long time, Moz. I don't forget a face very often, though, so good day to you. Morning. You are here early. Not your normal style, I have to admit. Or at least it wasn't way back when. Sorry, miss, I don't know who you are. You're not a local, are you?
I'm not here. I was working at Ren's.
That's true. That's a good point.
I'm not here either.
I missed that one. Completely got that one wrong. They're not here. That's me, my brain. Thank you very much. I'll just stand over here. We'll roll that one back. cut.
Maybe it was the badger that you were
The badger,
confused
it was
about.
the badger, of course it was, yes, down there, hello. No, I know Olerin quite well. Oh dear. Oh dear. Anyway, how are you all? How are things going? What can we do for you?
Oh, we have some books you might find interesting.
Well, that's... I mean, it's possible, I guess. Carl, do you want to come over here and check these with me? Or, no, you're too busy, aren't you? Yes, of course you are. If there's anything I find of interest, I'll let you have it. Thank you very much. Go on then. What, are they all in that bag? Oh, this
Might
is
be
one of those
pleasantly
fangled
surprised.
bags, isn't it? I've seen one of these before, a long time ago. Go on then.
Here,
Let's have a
right.
look. Yeah.
You have
Well,
six hefty terms.
Oh my. Well, that's not possible, surely. No.
Magic.
No. No, I know the bag. I got that one. I understood after I thought about it a little bit. But these books are ancient. Or at least they appear to be. Where on earth have you found these?
Well, or where under the earth have you found these?
Sorry, I don't understand. Try that one again.
Most you tell him.
Short version of events. We've been poking where people don't tend to want to be poking and tend to not like to be poked. Up at the
I
Gordon
beg
Light.
your pardon?
We've been rummaging around in other people's doings up at the Gordon Light. And
Oh,
this
okay,
is
hang on,
exactly what
yes,
we
that
found.
just about made sense with that last little addition. Thank you very much. I was starting to think
Am
you
I
guys
burying
were...
the lead hard enough, Phelan?
Anyway, right. Dear me.
It's early. It's early. I need more lubrication
Early.
before I can
You
dive
need what,
in.
pardon? I tell you
Before I
what,
can
if
wax lyrical.
you're poking around in places people don't want, you probably do need lubrication. Now, let me just have a very quick look over these. I have to say, this is quite a find, although I have seen copies of these books before. I mean, to be brutally honest with you though, that happens quite a lot. These books, they're not uncommon, they're not massively common either, so it's just rare to see first or second editions, which I believe these might actually be. You say you found them in the Gauntlet?
Yes.
Yes. Technically.
How interesting.
Underneath would be accurate.
Underneath. Underneath? There's an underneath? With a
There's a whole
Gauntlet?
lot of underneath.
Good place to keep things underneath.
When you put it over neaths, then people tend to walk into them.
Are
And
you
if you can't make
entirely sure you understand the common language? Because I'm not entirely sure you're speaking it.
We might have been drinking until the early hours.
It sounds like it, if I'm honest. It does really sound like it. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, okay. Well... So here's the thing. I'll happily pay for these. Might take me a little bit of time to work out what the value of them are, and then I will pass those on. Generally speaking, something like this, well, as I say, quality of the book, which edition they are, although as they do look like they could be very high-end editions.
There's
There's a very good chance that on average I would give you about 30 gold for all of these.
You say sounds reasonable. That's awesome. How about if it would normally be around that, you happily square that away, and if you happen to find someone who would pay more than you would normally expect, we see some of that as well. Not cutting too hard and too much.
It's a little bit, but so here's the thing. Something like these, I'm going to want to spend a little bit of time myself on. So, so there's a good chance that that deal wouldn't come through very soon. Just as a warning. So, I personally would prefer to give you the 30 gold, if I'm honest, and then I can spend as long as I want with these and not feel rushed. Yeah. However, what I will say is, so these are pretty averagey kind of books. Yeah, as I said, good first editions, old, high quality. I'm guessing these have been looked after, which begs the question who buy. But still, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask. You're the adventurers. I'm just running a shop and enjoying a quiet life, just how I want it. But if you happen to find any special books, really rare books, I mean, you probably wouldn't know, if I'm honest, so just bring me anything that looks good, but I'm kind of intrigued as to what might be more down there, if that makes sense. The Gauntlet was supposedly, if ancient stories about it are to believe, quite an extensive complex. And we saw the bit at the top on the ruins, and that's many levels have been lost of that, because the Gauntlet itself would have probably been of, you know, only just a little bit above when it was created, and now it's considerably taller. But it's difficult to believe that there isn't more that might have survived.
Well, you say that. A couple of days ago, you may have noticed a couple of workmen types, a couple of chippies, a couple of stonemasons maybe, went down to the basement of that room building just off to the west side of the river. They were putting in a door. Because if I remember, Jen, we found a slipway out to the lower levels.
You found a slipway into the library, in fact.
Yeah. Well, if you happen to go over there, you'll find buried down inside of it a door with a letterbox.
Now, so a couple of things. I'm quite aware of what happened at the fish market recently with the apparently a dragon or something similar down there. And did you not hear about this?
No.
Dragon in the fish market? No, I missed that one.
Basement of the fish market, they found a bunch of adventurers went down there recently, found quite a few kobold and then apparently a dragon, or at least that's what they're claiming. I'm not entirely sure how much I believe them, but there you go. I'm assuming that's where you've asked for the door to be put, because that's where they went to the fish market and built a door for some reason. I'm not entirely sure I understood why.
Just investigating.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that one.
Yeah. So yes. In either case, look, I'm not really the adventuring sort. You might have kind of guessed that. I did it for a while, but I think I'd prefer not to have to do it. Look, I'm right here. I'm always here. I've always been here for ages.
Thing is, we bring you books, you give us money.
I mean, basically, if that's the simple level of the deal that you want, absolutely, of course. Find me something really interesting, might be a lot of money.
I was just going to try to set you up with a pen pal on the other side of that door, but
No, it's fine. I prefer not to deal with anything that you found down there. Thank you very much. Even if it apparently likes writing letters. I don't want to know, really, quite honestly. Fabulous as all this sounds, I will give you the 30 gold now, having looked at these. I think that's probably about what they're worth. Carl, will you please? Yes, 30 gold. Yes. Yes, in a single bag. Fair enough. Yeah, thank you very much. Here you are, 30 gold. That should do use, and he does that whole envelops the books, and they just slide across the table. I'll take these, and at some point sell them, I'm sure. Some of these really are fantastic looking first editions. I am quite impressed. Happen to find anything else like this, as I said, bring them to me. That would be fantastic. I'd very much appreciate it. You have a friend in Odd Stories. Shall we say that? That seems reasonable. If you wish to come to me for anything, I mean, let's put it this way: I don't tend to store a lot of stuff. There are a lot of books, as you might be able to see, and my tower has a few other bits and pieces in it. So, should you really need me to have anything, I've got a few formulae and some scrolls and bits and pieces that from when I used to adventure that I never really got around to using, that I could possibly pass on. Just putting it out there. Always looking for customers. Always looking for people interested in the arcane and the occult.
And then remembered that's my other character. Yeah, that's not this character.
Anything else? Anything else at all?
Did anyone want to look at books to do with ghosts or not?
Ghosts? Oh, goodness me, why on earth would you want to look up stuff about ghosts? Also, as a note, not a library, but a bookshop.
Oh, yeah, we meant find books that were part of that. But you don't want to know what's under the gauntlet, so I won't tell you anymore.
I think you might be missing the point I was trying to make. If you want to have a book about ghosts, you buy it first. Then you can do the research. Yes, that's what I meant. Oh, fair enough. I thought
as in peruse yourselves and
I thought you had an odd, peculiar idea that you could sit in here, research this stuff, and put the book back.
I mean, what's going to stop me?
Well, for a start, I don't really have anywhere for you to sit down.
Neffy just sits on the floor.
Just crisscross applesauce.
Carl, we have a loiterer. Would you be a darling? And you notice as Carl comes towards you, he's not small like more the Bench is. He's quite a well-built gentleman. And he just sort of puts his hand on your shoulder and lifts, and you go with him. There's not a lot of...
I latch onto him, and I'm like, this is amazing! This is almost as fun as the log flume!
He sort of looks at you down, so he's got hold of your shoulder, and just moves you towards the door gently.
Well, if you happen to have, I mean, as much as you don't want to know what's going on downstairs, and that's absolutely fair, do you happen to have any books that would deal with getting rid of something in the ghostly, spiritual, or possibly even vaguely demonic kind of
Demonic? My goodness me, you really are into a lot of things down there, aren't you?
Well, I've got my own personal research as well.
I will tell you this, nice and simple, just as fair warning, of course. But yes, you'll probably find books here that might have stuff like that in, but I believe them with a pinch of salt, if I'm honest. The only reason I say that, my area of expertise, arcane and occult. Oddly enough, everybody seems to think that undead things come into the occult branch. Not entirely accurate, to be honest with you. If you want to really know about them, you probably need to go and talk to those samurai people. Saranites are pretty big on their religious stuff, and well, undead actually naturally falls into that. Ghosts may be a little bit occult, maybe a touch, but they are mostly still undead. Just putting that out there. And as such, I can't verify the contents of these books because my knowledge isn't really there. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, there's bits around here. You could waste probably quite a long time looking for that sort of book. I'm not entirely sure where I put them, to be fair. They're mostly non-fiction. Carl probably knows. But then again, to be honest with you, Carl sometimes forgets. Bless him. He's a darling, really, but not always as imaginative as perhaps I'd like to be. Anyway...
Absolutely no. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. You are always welcome.
With that muzzle just bimble outside.
Yeah.
Neffy lets go of the arm that's holding her and sprightly jumps out of the room.
There's a mild behind you.
Sometimes you
I
just
imagine
marry
this
a
is
hen
not
dog.
the first time.
Possibly not. You've not really had a lot of reason to go into odd stories before because it's a weird wizard place with, you know, a stone tower and a wooden shop.
Don't forget
Trunk.
she has some wizardry herself.
True.
Yeah. Plus she's curious.
Well, there is that.
Right. So, where are we going next for Neffy to offend people?
Well, naturally the best place, I mean, from my perspective, I'll take a walk down the guard room, down the barrack space, see if, oh good God, what's his name again? Captain Thunderpants, no. Captain Longsaddle.
Yeah.
Lardus Longsaddle.
Lardus Longsaddle.
See if he's
Yeah, let's
in.
go see him. Yeah.
Okay. In difference to what you've just seen, the headquarters of the Otari Guard is just a sturdy stone building with green and white banners that match the local guard uniforms. The guards are the peacekeepers in town. They tend to patrol down Roseguard Road, which you've seen a couple of them, and they tend to look after the peace. Obviously, they turn a slight blind eye to the Osprey Club, and some people kind of know that, and it's not uncommon knowledge that there's a little bit of behind the back agreement of that nature, but they're there. The guards themselves, you see as you move towards, are clad in green and white uniforms. But these guys, they're not just the guards. These are firefighters, barristers. They swap to whatever role basically they need is required. Generally speaking, they swap to the latter when they reach about 40 years of age. It's like an automatic thing. You go from being a guard to being a barrister. As a kind of almost like an automatic thing, dealing with the crime one way or another. Lardus Longsaddle is somebody that you bump into pretty quickly. He is gruff, stout, elderly. He's retired, but clearly not on many levels. He has the best moustache in the world. This man is absolutely upfront and dealing with everything that's going on here. He looks up as you step into the building. An eye up and an eye down. So
Don't worry.
which boat brought you into town, Moz? Because I could swear I heard the smell about a week ago of you arriving back. It's like
You heard the smell? How long have you
I
had
swear
synesthesia?
I could. Well, yeah. I
been
swear I
hearing
could
funny colours
smell
recently as
the
well.
smell of you about a week ago. I definitely heard the sound of you a couple of nights ago, noisily drinking yourself under a table.
Yep.
What?
Yep. Don't worry. Don't worry. Joy of Honor isn't here.
Yeah, well, I
No
remember
major
those
bother.
days. So come on then, what are you doing here? What's going on?
Well, just down for a bit of a favour for Rin. She sent us off a letter, which is why I rolled in. It's why you might have seen a little bit more colour around town recently. Possibly.
Possibly.
Part of what we ended up getting stuck into was the blue light incident up on the top of the grounds overlooking the cathedral.
I will admit here, hold my hands up, little bit, and I will say this, as I said, hold my hands up. Little bit put that. How to put this politely? No, I don't say things politely.
Yeah.
The lady who is a little bit short of a few screws to make up a decent frame for a building, a little bit weak and wobbly of the mind, as it were. I have to admit, I did dismiss what she said, and then stuff has happened, and maybe she was right. But it's not glowing anymore, so I'm not sending anybody up there because that was weird, and I'm not dealing with that. I've got to deal with the town. So what exactly are you doing, Rin? Because I've made the assumption that you're here dealing with that because Rin brought you here.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. You're bang on the money. Is
So,
the short version.
Which one of you lunatics touched something that made that happen then? Because it's got to have been one of you.
Well, the beautiful thing is, from what we've been exploring, is there's a lot of stuff going on in and around the building, mostly underneath it.
Underneath?
Yeah,
There's
underneath
nothing
it.
underneath it. The whole place collapsed.
Oh, no, trust
You
me, there's
say
a lot
that.
underneath it.
When was the last time you went up there?
Well, we haven't been up there because it got ransacked years ago. There's nothing there to go and have a look at.
And we climbed out of it last night, having been in it for 4 or 5 days, 3 or 4 days, I think.
Well,
That's right.
Look, I don't know what exactly happened to you lot.
Yeah.
There's been people up there trying to rob the place for ages, and they haven't found anything other than the top level. So you're saying you found something? Because that's big news. Just so you're aware. That's
Well, what I would say is there's definitely been ransacking the place. I mean, there's like a room. In fact, Neffy, you're a little bit more tuned in on some of the magic stuff, along like Balin is. There's a room that like teleports you around the place, wasn't there? That had been stripped out quite nicely.
Yep.
There were a couple of
so hang on,
type creatures up there as well.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Well, kobolds have been up there for ages. They've been quiet recently, actually, other than what happened.
they're gonna be a lot quieter for a lot
at
longer.
the fish market. It's all right. Okay. Get this vaguely in my head. You're saying that we have we've had some sub-levels of that place hanging around for centuries. And now something's happening, and you guys have been able to work out some way of getting underground. And there's stuff under there,
You are right, sir.
which I wouldn't have believed. It kind of stops when Neffy says sir.
Yes?
In either case. Now, if it hadn't have been for what happened earlier, before you lot showed up in the fish market with the weird adventurers that were here a little while ago, goodness they've left. But if it hadn't been for them finding something underneath the fish market, I might have been a little bit more confused and a little bit less willing to believe you. And if it hadn't been you, Moz, I'd have definitely have had questions beyond this, and I'd have wanted proof and goodness knows what else.
I mean,
But-
if you would like some proof, I mean, Nephew's probably got that necklace of ears and things still. Have you
Yeah.
still got one of those?
Another necklace.
He looks at you again. Moz, we had this conversation before.
Don't worry, I've not taken his ears.
Chuck,
That's
no,
when the
no,
cult
no,
was
no,
down there.
no, that's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying. But something you could easily make in your backyard with 5 minutes of work is not evidence. And you can't use it to prove a point.
Did we put any of those ghoul heads in the bag? Phaedon?
No,
Or did we not
no,
give-
we didn't.
No, we didn't. Oh, okay.
No, we gave all the ghoul stuff to what's his face, didn't we?
To
I
what,
think-
eh?
Did we pick
What?
up any of the like the unholy symbols that cult were wearing? Did we pick any of those up?
Well, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I did, but I'm not there.
I'm fairly certain Nephew would have nabbed one or two of them out of the corpses.
So again,
Yes.
he kind of looks at this wooden thing with a really bad carved symbol on it and goes, "Okay, half an hour work, but I'm still not having it." All right.
Look, I
just-
respect that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Right, right. But bear in mind, we came here to do some commerce. And
Oh, this is true.
all we're getting is being called liars.
No, he's just being robust with his investigation. That's fair. That's fair.
I have a job to do.
Hmm.
So do this lot. And I don't, as I said earlier, after what happened, it seems likely that sending people away from here might not be the best idea. I've sent a letter back to Absalom to ask them. Yes, miss at the back with her hand raised.
I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about what actually happened at the fish market. Like, who were these adventurers?
I didn't get their names, to be honest with you.
Do we know where they came from or where they went?
Well, they were from Absalom. Pretty much all adventurers are from around there. Some wizard and cleric of Sarenrae, who seemed very chummy with the people at the Dawnflower Library, unsurprisingly. There was a warrior and some weird elven woman who honestly made me want to check my purse every time she walked near me. Anyway, they were hired apparently by the owner of the fish market to go and check on what on earth was going on in their basement because they'd had a wall knocked through. And they went through there. They found a bunch of they found a bunch of kobolds, which we assume had just sort of come from the Gauntlet and snuck their way through their caves and warrens and all the rest of it. But apparently there were a bunch of other things down there. Some sort of rat that was on fire. There was someone like some sort of undead tomb. In either case, they cleared the place out. Said there was a dragon in the last chamber. Big, huge grotto thing with mushrooms and goodness knows what else. That strikes a memory. On your route back from the library through that tunnel, you went through a grotto full of mushrooms and various other bits and pieces. So you recognise the room they're talking about. Now that you think about it, the route you found did go into the basement of what appeared to be some sort of fish market. So it's like, yeah, okay, so this all links together. It all connects underground in some way. And you've also, you know full well that around here the kobold warrens literally move around all around Otari. They're all under the town, out to the various sides. You've been in a couple before that were like collapsed ones and various other bits and pieces. And a lot of people blame the collapse of the Thirsty Alpaca on the Warrens collapsing underneath Otari. So there's a whole sort of potential connection there. Anyway, if it weren't for all of that, probably would have a problem with what you're talking about right now. But let's be honest, there's weird stuff happening in Otari at the moment. We've had a wave of undead jumping off a cliff. What else can you say? Other than, yeah, there's probably something underneath Gauntlet.
And it's sort of in that vein that I'm coming across to you, really, and leading some of us over, because one of the things we're having trouble with underneath is things of a spiritual nature, specifically spirits of a nature. Scurrilous rumour being what it is. Some folks may have said that you might have knowledge of or access to rooms and such.
Honestly, knowledge of? I'm sorry, can I interrupt you?
Go for it.
Could care less either way. Right. Runes, look, knowledge of, not a chance. I have not got a clue about these things. None at all. Runes, on the other hand, yeah, we keep hold of a whole bunch of runes to deal with stuff going on around here. Which one you after? Really?
Really, I want to put holes in ghosts. So I believe, from what's been told, that ghost touch is
ghost touch.
Something we won't be looking at.
It's a rare one round here, I'll
Yeah.
say, ghost touch. Alright, which is why I tend to buy every single one that shows up.
Good man.
I've got one at the moment. Might have another one if you really need it. Okay? But what I will say is, they are not the cheapest rune in the world. Okay? And it's going to cost a little bit of money. Which we can always invest into the guard and make sure that we've got other runes when they come along and all the rest of it. So don't, I'm not butting you up here. I'm just prepping you for this. Last one I got hold of, and I'd want to sell it to you with, a little bit of favour for me. I spent 75 gold on one, and I kind of want 80 back. Now,
Good to know.
for you, I might knock a couple of gold off that. Maybe. Seeing as you used to help out a little bit. Even if you did kind of try and plant evidence every now and again.
It's for keeping people on their toes.
That's not what it was for, mate. You were just picking on people you didn't like. Admittedly, they were doing something wrong, and you didn't need to plant the evidence on them, and all the rest of it, and we kind of were able to deal with it, but still, not what you were meant to do. You were a better firefighter than you were a guard.
Well, it's the heavy lifting and the dealing with wet.
There's that. You went off on boats a lot as well, so you didn't really mind water too much, did you?
Well, that's the thing. You get raised on boats. You live there long enough. I mean, we got old clan up in old Cheliax and some tribe family up in the mountains. But my man being who she were, spending most of our lives on the boats.
So, yeah, all right. See you wearing black armor. Oh, the garb of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made that choice in the end, then.
I did. They've got an approach to life which is a little bit straightforward and a little bit simple. Makes life a lot easier in some regards.
I know we ribbed
More
you. I know we ribbed you a lot when you were little, and I mean I still am planted evidence and
Oh,
all
hell
that
yeah.
lot. Like you actually did that.
Yeah.
But still, I didn't hear that, alright? I did not hear that. Anyway, look, it's 78 gold. I've got to make a bit of money back.
Oh, absolutely. I know we've been in town and had a look about the place. We brought some bits and pieces of equipment back. I think we've just come over from Old Tales. So
Old stories, odd stories.
Old Stories, that's the one. Old Stories. We made a little bit of coin there. I'll just need to check in with folk to make sure that we can drop that amount of money.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You heading out anywhere else today?
To be fair, if we get everything squared away that we need to, we'll probably patch your wounds, slip by an apothecary and see if there's any decent potions that are useful. And we'll get back down because there's problems down there and it's not getting any better. Some of the stuff that came out of the Gauntlet, out of that blue light, I think came from levels deeper than we've been. Because there's all sorts of smart undead that shouldn't be smart down there.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, after seeing the lot from the last time that light went off, jumping off a cliff, honest with you, I think pretty much anything is smart if it tries to be, you know, if it's undead and it can do better than lemminging off a cliff, then it's probably smart.
Well, they had the ghouls. There were some of the smarter ones had ghouls building things. So yeah.
Yeah, not known for their manual labour skills, I will say. Right. We're here if you want the rune. We've definitely got one. I'll check if we've got another. But they're going to be about 78 gold each, no matter what.
Appreciate it. I'll check in with, I think, one of our numbers dealing with one of the weapons at the moment, so it might be worth checking in. He'd have to come out of the group funds. So I've only got 5 gold myself.
Yeah, you're a bit short.
I mean, yeah.
Not something that can normally be said about you.
I tell you what, it's the boots, they had an extra range.
Yeah, alright.
But thank you for your time, Captain. Do appreciate it.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Balin, Neffy, how are you feeling about things? Should we check in with him?
Check in
That's
with
a lot of
him.
money. I know we spent a lot of money on me getting plate, and I don't want to be drawing down a lot of funds.
But it's addressing probably a critical deficiency, your ability to wall up ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
It would make me a little bit more comfortable, rather than just taking it and trying not to bleed out.
Exactly. And you being more comfortable makes us more comfortable.
We'll see how Invar's done with her work, and then see how things go. We'll come back here. Make some notes.
So yeah, it's probably been a couple of hours wandering around. It's still quite early morning. So when you get to Inver, Inver's still in the middle of quite a lot of work. Bryn is pottering around, doing her own thing, selling to the odd person that comes in, the odd traveller. Yeah, but Inver, you are not in a position where you can't interact. Let's put it that way. You are more than capable.
We're probably the reason why you got the natural one. For the hero point.
Spend the money. Fine, bugger off. I'm working.
You
I
heard
would
it
have
here,
walk
folks.
back down the hill.
So yes, that is the natural 1 point. That is where Inver has to restart everything. Hence the
The brusqueness of that one.
Yep. Yep. And do you head straight back and pick up the rune?
I mean, from my perspective, yes.
Okay.
Because it's going to take a little while to get this on.
So
Yeah,
the interesting, yeah, The interesting thing is, it'll again, because it's a rune on a rune stone, it can be transferred in a day. That's easy enough. So you can technically start the work now on it. Phelan can have a crack at putting the rune on, and that can be a nice thing to do. It is, however, a level 4 rune, so this is slightly harder to put on. And this would require a 19 or higher on your crafting roll.
Okay, so 50-50s, and I've got a hero point.
Indeed, it's 50-50 with a hero point. But let's see that roll. I think.
Okay.
So I'll just have a look at my stats. Is there any way I can assist? Short answer.
No.
Yeah, do any of us have guidance? Or...
21.
21.
Hey!
So working side by side with Inver, and a little bit of processing and a little bit of time. The general sort of chatter in the back, and Phelan is now working away hard. There is a slow but sure process which puts another rune, onto, I'm assuming, onto the halberd. Okay, so the halberd is now a +1 ghost touch halberd. I'll just make that update.
Nice.
Property rune number 1, ghost touch. So yes, a +1 ghost touch halberd. All sorted out. That takes up.
I get to take the 78 gold out of the loot box.
Out of
Thank
the
you.
old.
Oh, did you put the 30 in?
Well, the 30's in my inventory at the moment, but if you want that transferring to the loot box, that's fine.
Makes sense, so we can track it as a group. Easy,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
That's fine.
There's the loot box.
So things to grab if Melzron ever falls over. That bloody halberd.
Yep.
Definitely the
That-
most important item.
That leads us into another evening. Unless there's anything else either Moz or Neffy wants to do before the day ends. Because Phelan and Inver are busy.
We've corroborated the story, haven't we? The fish market thing.
That seems
So
to
we
be
don't need
legit.
to go and investigate, yeah.
Other
then-
than-
Could we go and speak to the church? The temple of Serenray?
Yeah.
They might know
I'll
a
do
little
that.
bit more about the adventurers.
Can do.
You can get a wand of disrupt undead or something.
Yeah. Have a conversation. Maybe they're willing to loan something. Totally legit adventurers going down into an hole. Would you please lend us something snacky, please? I really don't think it's going to happen, but you never know.
You hate undead. We're going to fight undead.
Yep. Everybody wins.
I think...
So,
I can't edit how much gold we have in the loot box, so that would have to be a
yeah,
GM thing, I
that's
think.
fair enough. So,
So we spend 78 and then 30 goes in.
which means that you spend 48.
This is maths. Don't expect me to work it out.
There you are. Done. You now have
Okay,
40
I'll-
coins left in there.
Thank you.
And I'll take the 30 out of my inventory.
Yes, indeed.
Perfect.
Okay.
So you head to the Dawnflower Library, the two of you that are heading there, and you are greeted by a very bright-faced looking individual. Halfling, but yeah, there's the picture of them. That you know, the two of you know as Vandi Bandadash, the sort of main cleric of Sarenrae. She's bright-faced and friendly and happy with everyone normally, and very softly spoken. Welcome Neffy, welcome Mosru. Your friend is here, Anka. Seems to be very preoccupied with the damage that was done to the library. I'm sorry if you were hoping to speak to her. They seem very determined to go out and deal with a few problems. She's not really a Sarenrae follower, and I don't feel like I can really step in when she's in this kind of valorous mood.
If she's got a plan and the things she's working towards, we'll not interrupt her. It's if she's taking care of potential problems if they arrive here, that's actually to a benefit for what we're looking at doing.
This seems to be their main concern at the moment, is making sure the area is safe. If it weren't for the fact that the guard are a little bit brusque, I would imagine she'd be working with them right now, but no. Anyway, if that is what you have come for, I'm sorry I can't help you, but if there's anything else you wish to ask...
Actually, yes. It's exactly the other end of the problem. Is what we'd like to have a brief conversation if you could take your time.
Briefly.
Short version then. The Gauntlet isn't just everything that's above ground and ruined. So far we've gone a couple of levels down. We've encountered ghouls, two demons. Several spirity type things that are generally angry at the universe, and one that's very well formed and has a concept about what it thinks is going on. We've removed parts of things that were living in one temple. Would you call it a temple or small church that was along the surface, Neffy? The other one, where we initially counted it, to the north end, where those things that climbed into dead bodies and reanimated them. Did you say it's more a church or a temple?
It was a temple, wasn't it? To Nimbaloth.
That's the one, yeah.
Well, then we have quite an interesting conversation to be had. You are dealing with the undead, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the general thrust
Very
of it.
much.
And we found a bigger set of doors that we think is linked to what's on the surface level. And we thought we'd stop there and come back for a bit of conversation. And
Many people would get the wrong impression that we are destructive of undead. More, we wish them to be brought into the light. And that can mean that they can survive given the right choices, but they very rarely make the right choices. And so it tends to be that we're seen as being quite anti-undead. But in either case, I'm sorry to say there isn't a lot I can do for you. The way that this organisation is structured is, we are fundamentally, even though we are dedicated here to Sarenrae, many of the items that we carry merely hold healing magics rather than anything offensive. I believe, in fact, you bought one of the items that we had at one stage. You have bought a staff of healing from us.
Yes, Phelan has it, I
He
believe.
does.
Indeed.
He does indeed.
These are the sorts of things that we have access to. We don't really have a lot that would be useful against the undead, unless you are already a divine caster. Those that can cast divine magic. You're not there. those that can cast divine magics. We do have the odd scroll. The odd. We did at one point have a wand that would allow the casting of spells, but in dealing with the attack recently, unfortunately that wand was overused and broken. We are hoping we can
Understandable.
get it repaired. We do have the odd potion that may be of use to you, perhaps. And should you return to town in need of restoration or healing, or even to have some sort of disease removed from you, we would, of course, be able to do that for a fee. But that is, I'm afraid, about as good as I can offer. The recent attack meant that some of our scrolls and our wands were, as I say, unfortunately used.
We've got a plan for direct action, so some of the supportive side of life will definitely be appreciated. I'm not. I'm part of the direct action kind of approach, and whilst Nephi has skills, I don't think they're of a divine nature.
Not divine, no.
But we do have a member of our small little band who does have skills in that regard. What kind of magics is it? What kind of scrolls is it you have available so we can pass on information? I don't think we're moving out tonight.
Well, as I say, most of what we have tends to be divine by nature. We have access to heal scrolls. We do have remove disease and restoration. As I said, these tend to be stock things that we can make ourselves. I would have to spend some time looking specifically at the sorts of things that might be of use to you. I would very much doubt the ability to purify food or drink is really of concern on what you're doing, but maybe, I guess.
If we get stuck down there, then maybe, but for the most part, we'll take trail rations in.
Yes. No, I would unfortunately have to have a look at what stock we've got. Perhaps this is something that can be done. Well, once you know what you want, be it potion or scroll or even potentially a wand, although, as I said, the ones we realistically have, we have used of late and need repairing. Should you have a list of things you want and the money, then we can arrange something. But it is a very, very late and long evening that we've had, or a late afternoon. And I think at this point we should probably call it there.
Oh, we'll probably swing by in the morning then.
Right, everyone. We're going to stop there. Any background additional shopping that these guys want to do, we're going to do off camera. So, I mean, it's a slight downside for them because it now means that they actually have to work out what they want and send it to me on a list so that I can then work out how much of it they can actually have. But in either case, we're going to stop there. Have a good evening, everybody. Say goodbye, players.
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
players.
Bye, players.
Night night, everybody. See you next time.